Hello, my name is Billie Marten, and these are the records in my life.
Hello, thanks so much for being on Records in My Life.
No worries, my pleasure.
Congratulations, your record, it's been just about 2 months that Dogear has dropped, and there were a number of great collaborators on the record, and tell me how it all came together, because it's a pretty impressive roster of, and talk about a few of the artists, please.
Yes, well, it all came together through the genius and expertise and contact list of Phil Weinrobe, who produced the record. I basically put all my eggs in his basket and had never worked with, and I wanted to work with fresh people. And it just so happened that all the great legends of New York were in town at the time. So who've we got? We've got Vishal Nayak on drums, together with Josh Crumbly, and they make the rhythm section. And then we've got two Michaels, Michael Haldeman and Michael Coleman. One's like Bill Evans and the other one's like Jaco Pastorius.
That's amazing. That's pretty...
It's true. And then we got some spicy guitarmen in, Adam Brisbane and Sam Evian. Sam, his solo became a problem. He solos on this song Leap Year, and I have to do it every night. So he's really set me up for some serious failure, but that's okay. And then Núria Graham, who I sort of contacted online and said how much I loved her record that she made called Cyclamen. And I basically asked if I could bring her over to New York and also borrow kind of all of her sort of methods.
And how do you connect with Phil Weinrobe? Because he's a pretty in-demand, not to say that you're not, he's above your...
pay grade.
No, I'm not saying that at all, that he's above your thing, but he's a great producer. He's done a lot of great records in the last 5 years. How did you guys end up working together?
We got put in touch by a mutual friend, and we had a phone call, and I was sat in my car in Yorkshire, and he weirdly had been to the area where I was, and we were both sort of umming and ahhing on the next records that we independently wanted to make, and had as much as you can talk about music without actually hearing it, because a lot of that stuff is kind of futile, especially when it comes to what sort of music do you make, what's your genre, that sort of thing. We seem to have landed, we seem to land on the same kind of page of the book.
Thanks so much again for being on Records in My Life. The show is about you, the artist, and the records that continue to inspire you. Yep. From what I've read, you're described as a songwriter's songwriter. That's the quote. I read that quote, and I read your prolific was another one. It was right. A prolific songwriter. So what are some of the early, what are some of the songwriters that have inspired you to, put pen to paper and constantly do it?
I'm only classed as prolific because I just started young, so it seems that way, but if I started at 20, I'd make a normal amount of records. So I will just say that. However, what was I listening to? I was listening to many a powerful female and many a powerful male. These are all influences from my parents' record collection. So with them being born in the late 50s, early 60s, I had two very strong women, Kate Bush and Joni. So I listened to a lot of Kate, and she was kind of a key part in unlocking songwriting for me, in the sense of how sort of mystical and unknown it can be, and how you actually don't need the answers in order to write a song. Because I was writing at such a young age, and she was too. I'm actually reading her biography right now, and we have a pretty identical start, both from rural areas in England, not a lot to write about, got picked up somehow, signed to majors at 15, that sort of thing. So
is that when you got signed at 15? That's amazing.
So the Red Shoes is probably, it's not everyone's favourite. It's the one with Prince kind of co-produced it, and Eric Clapton's on there, Jeff Beck's on there, some crazy session players are on there. That is the one that was most played in the car. And then The Whole Story, and then Hounds of Love, and Never Forever. All of them.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I got to ask about Joni. You mentioned Joni Mitchell.
Yeah. I mean, I spend my whole life circumventing Blue because it's kind of not allowed anymore, to be seen as an influence, because it's just such a, it's the one. But I have been listening to it in the van during these last few weeks of tour, and I would be lying if it wasn't on my list. But there are other things. I grew up on Hunky Dory, David Bowie. I really connected with that, I suppose, for its kind of childlike joy and sort of creativity. The act of playing in the studio I found really helpful, and that inspired lots of stuff on my first record, using different tools that aren't instruments and being playful. Speaking of playful, there's a new-ish artist called Dan Reeder. He's in his 80s, but he's just started.
That's incredible.
His career. He's got an album that's self-titled that's one of the best pieces of songwriting I've ever heard. Who else have we got? Elliott Smith, another kind of buzzword. His album Roman Candle was played whilst we were making the second record with Ethan Johns. Very instrumental in learning the power of double tracking and harmonic value and sporadic percussion.
I wanted to ask you, because I was really interested that because I enjoy freeform jazz. I'm not going to get into the depths of it and look like, but you did a show at the Barbican with her ensemble.
Yes.
What were a couple of records that kind of inspired you to, I'm sure you're a fan of their music, but what?
Well, that's the special thing about that show, is that it sort of came from nowhere, and the form, I guess, was unusual. And Ellie, who's the head composer in her ensemble, had brand new, untouched compositions after listening to the songs. So yeah, there were no kind of direct instrumentation references.
Sir Richard Branson invites you up in the rocket, one of his rockets, I don't know how many he owns or whatever, to go up to. What soundtrack do you take up with you?
Probably Gershwin. Rhapsody in Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Probably that.
That's beautiful. That's a nice one.
Because I think because you're stuck up there for a while, I think you'd be quite up for a magnum opus, like Tubular Bells, something like that. Something epic and long, and in any other circumstance would be probably quite challenging. But I think it would be important to be challenged in space.
We are in Canada.
Yes.
So give us a Canadian. We're gonna skate away from Joni Mitchell. I love her to death, and I love her. But give us another great Canadian record. Oh
no, you put me on the spot. Do you know what? I'm really enjoying his not posthumous one, the one right before he went with You Want It Darker.
You Want It Darker, yeah.
Really enjoying that. Incredibly so in terms of production. Neil, I got Tattoo of Rust on my foot.
Wow.
Love him forever. At the moment, I'm listening to his Live at the Cellar Door album, which I had on my iPod Classic, and I used to listen to it in art class. And the song Flying on the Ground, which is originally done with Buffalo Springfield, I've just been working out a little cover of that at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Just for me.
That's great.
And then also there's an album called Homegrown that was originally recorded in 1975, didn't come out, and then he put it out in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah, because COVID happened and I listened to that, and then Fiona Apple's Fetch the Bolt Cutters, which should be on my list actually. Anything she's done. And then also The Milk-Eyed Mender was a really important album for me too. Do you like her?
I do. I like all those artists are fantastic. I love Fetch the Bolt Cutters is a fantastic record.
And do you know the title, the reason for the title?
I don't.
It's actually from an English TV show
Really?
called The Line of Duty. And there's a scene in which somebody's locked up in a cupboard somewhere, and then the police come in and then they say, "Fetch the bolt cutters." And she just loved that show, and then shows us the title of her album, which I love. Factoid.
Yeah.
And Cara Delevingne is on backing vocals.
My final question is, it's a bit of a family issue. My nephew, he's a lawyer now, and he's a great guy, good looking, handsome, fit, and all that stuff. So he'd like to meet, he's 25, 26, and he'd like to meet another person, but I think it's a woman, and we're 2025. What's a good record to like just kind of like, like something cool and jazzy, like, picks up in the car and he has something interesting on that?
Yes, I go with Simande. Bluesy, jazzy, semi-experimental, very smooth to the core. You put that on when you're making dinner. Success.
Terrific, thank you. Thanks so much for being on Records of My Life. On to the speed round, then we'll let you go. You've been a gracious guest. We really, really appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Weed, water, or wine to write and listen to your favorite record?
I have a strong connection to all three. Let's go alphabetically. Go water.
Record of your high school years. The first one you think of.
Lily Allen's All Right Still. Incredibly British record.
Words of wisdom for your fans and our audience.
Find your group. Find your people. Because there are ones like you. Don't go it alone. It's not necessary.
The show is really nothing without you. So please like or subscribe or check out our Patreon. And this year we've switched it up, and you can win a record just for leaving a comment. Thank you again, and we love you. Peace.